If you want some FIFA 23 coins, please check out MMOXP.com. Their link is down in the description. They're fast, cheap and reliable, and if you use code Rema you can get yourself a 5% discount. So what's up guys, my name's Ash and welcome back to a brand new video. In today's video guys, I've got some updated 422 custom tactics and player instructions for the new patch title update 6 in FIFA 23. But just before we get into today's video, I'd very much appreciate it if you could drop this video a thumbs up, as it does really help with the YouTube search algorithm. Also subscribe to the channel if you are new so you never miss out on any videos like this one, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you are notified when a video is posted. And with all that aside guys, let's get right into today's video. Okay guys, so starting off with the custom tactics. For the defensive style, I like to use balanced. I know a lot of people like to use pressure tactics, but I honestly really do think balanced is the best, especially when you can master it, because you have more control over your defense. You can press when you want to press, and you can be more conservative when you need to be, which can make your defensive game a lot better overall. If you want to carry on using pressure tactics, that's absolutely fine, but I do suggest getting used to balance if possible. Now for defensive width guys, I have this on 40. The reason for this is people like to play a very narrow style in FIFA 23, so it's important that we stay compact in the middle of the park so people can't just play right through you. Having the width on 40 means you primarily defend in a narrow way, but if somebody does try and go down the wing, you've also got the coverage there too, so it does work very well for the current state of the game. Moving on to depth guys, I've been really enjoying having this on 65 because it's allowed me to win the ball higher up the pitch and create quick fast counter attacks and catch my opponent out. It's also not been too difficult to deal with the through balls, especially when you just track the run. A lot of the time you will just win the ball back, and there has been like a bit of a buff to defenders where if you do tackle your opponent, you do actually retain possession of the ball a bit more, so it has been really beneficial pressing higher up the pitch. Obviously you can still get caught out, so if you want to lower that, that's up to you, but I've been really enjoying myself using this on 65. Now moving on to build-up play guys, this kind of goes hand in hand with my depth. I've got this on fast build-up at the moment because if I win the ball nice and high up the pitch, I want to build up quickly to really catch my opponent out. And often when you win the ball higher up the pitch, the fast build-up option is very good because your players are very quickly moving around, so it does help quite a lot. The only downside to this is if you then lose the ball, you are very open because you know your players are darting out of position to create passing opportunities and things like that. So if you want to use balance for a more methodical, slower approach, then go for that, but I have been enjoying using fast build-up. Now for chance creation guys, as always, I suggest direct passing. The reason for this is it's the only setting which actually helps you in attack, to be honest with you. If you look at the diagram in the bottom right hand corner of the screen, you can see it's the only setting which actually, you know, moves your attackers in a way which will penetrate the defensive line. You can see your white dots are constantly moving in and out of the defensive line to create chances. If you look at something like balance, they're very static and they don't move around all that much, so it is very important to use direct passing, otherwise you'll find it very difficult to create chances. Moving on to attacking width, because this is a more narrow formation, it makes sense we want to have a more narrow width. I've been really enjoying this on 35. This goes quite well with fast build up as well because your players are closer together, meaning you can play shorter, faster passes to get up the pitch, so it has been working very well for me. If this is too narrow for you, you can up this, or you can even lower it more if you want to, but I found a nice balance having it on 35. Now players in box, I kind of think this is down to preference, but I've just been having this on 5, which is bang in the middle at the moment. The reason for this is I want to get some players into the box, but I don't want to overcommit my whole team to the point where we get counter-attacked, so I found a good balance in 5, but if you want to up this or lower it, that's completely up to you. And corners and free kicks, again, this is down to preference. I've just been having this on 2, so I have some players in the box for set pieces, but I don't overcommit my team and leave myself vulnerable to counter attacks. For the players you want to use guys in the striker positions, because it is a 2-striker formation, you do have a bit more freedom and variety of the players you want to choose. You could go for like 2 lengthy players, you could go for 2 explosive players, you could go for a technical player and then a more clinical finisher. And what I do is I go for like a more technical player on the left hand side in Di Maria, you know, someone with 5-star skills, someone that offers something a little bit different. And then we've got Robbie Keane, who is a more clinical finisher. So it does give me a nice variety in the 2 striking positions. positions. But if you want to use, you can basically use whatever you want in this in the striker positions. Now for the wide cams, you want to use more technical players that are good on the ball, players that are agile, players that can take on an opponent, players that can cross, you know, even shoot. You need players that can do a bit of everything in attack. They do need to be quick because they're your main outlets in this formation. So yeah, just go for like 2 technical players, and an added bonus you can get on the players is a high work rate, but this isn't, you know, it's not a massive requirement, but it does help with the defensive game, which you will see in the instructions. So Phil Foden is a high, but you don't need to worry about that too much. Moving on to the 2 CDMs, I suggest having one more box-to-box player, so I'm using Park Ji-sung. He's got very well-rounded stats. He's got a high work rate, which is very important because they're going to be attacking and defending, and you need them to be like very well-rounded. You know, that they need to be able to do everything. If you need a cheap player in this position that is still able to do that, you can use Renato Sanchez's gold card. He still does the job. He's just a little bit outdated at this point in the game. Now for the other CDM, you need a more defensive player, someone that's going to stay back, break up the play. This player needs to have very good defensive stats and preferably a medium-high work rate because that suits their role in this team. So I'm using Patrick Vieira. He's got very good defensive stats, which actually make up for the fact that he is only a medium player. So don't worry too much if you can't get the perfect work rate. Just make sure you do have a defensive player in this position. Now for the fullbacks, you can basically do what you want here. You can go for 2 defensive fullbacks if you want to. You can go for 2 attacking-minded fullbacks, or you can go for a bit of a balance, which is what I do. I have Theo Hernandez, who is a more attacking fullback, and then I've got Kyle Walker, who is a more defensive fullback. So I've got the balance in the fullback positions. And then for the centre-backs and the goalkeeper, you just want these to be as good as possible, and I'm basically just using Chesney for chemistry. Now for player instructions on the 2 strikers, at the moment I'm just using stay central. The reason for this is when I had them on getting behind, I didn't think they were getting too involved in the build-up, and you kind of just had to rely on one driven pass through the middle. So by having them on mixed attack, it's actually allowed me to link up the play a lot better and create more fluid chances. This goes hand in hand with fast build-up and the way it works together. So I've been really enjoying using these on mixed attack. Stay central is important because we don't need them drifting off to the wings. We need them to stay in those central areas to receive the ball and finish off the chances. If you want to use getting behind, that's absolutely fine, but just give mixed attack a go and let me know what you think about it. Now for both cams, I suggest get into the box for cross. That is all I put on them. The reason for this is if you have them on balance crossing runs, a lot of the time they will be very passive in attack. They won't get involved in the final third, and it can actually really hold you back when you are attacking. So having them on get into the box for cross means they will transition into the box, so you have more attackers, more players to, you know, pass the ball to. It doesn't mean you have to cross the ball, it just means they do get more involved. So, you know, it's very important to have get into the box for cross on both the cams, I think. And the reason I said a high work rate is beneficial is because you can see we've got them on basic defensive support. So if they do have that high work rate, when we do lose the ball, they're going to transition back very quickly, so it defends in like a 4-4-2, and then when we get the ball back, they're very quick to join the attack. That's why I said it's an added bonus if you can get it. Now for the more box-to-box CDM, I suggest just cover center. The reason for this is we don't want to restrict this player too much. The only important thing is that he is covering those central areas, because we don't need Park Ji-sung to cover the wing here, as we've already got Chiesa and Walker on that side. We need him to cover the central areas, as that is where a lot of people like to play through. We leave everything else alone because again, he's going to attack and he's going to defend, which is why I said the high work rate is very important. Now moving on to the other CDM, the more defensive one, we have stay back while attacking, cut passing lanes and cover center. Now this is pretty self-explanatory, but because this is a more defensive player, we want him to cover the central areas, as again we don't need him to cover the wing. We need him to stay back while attacking, as that is his job. He's mainly there to help us defensively, and we have him on cut passing lanes so he can break out those dangerous passes, and we can even start quick counter attacks. So this player is basically here to be a defensive rock. Now for the fullbacks, like I said, I have a balance between my 2 fullbacks. I have one attacking fullback and one defensive fullback. So on my more attacking fullback, I have balanced attack and overlap. The reason for this is we want him to join the attack as he has good attacking stats to do so. And because we have a low width in 35, having this on overlap means we can really stretch our opponent while still keeping a narrow-minded attack. So it does work very well, and this gives you the extra width you need a lot of the time. So I do suggest having one of your fullbacks on balanced attack and overlap. And then on my more defensive fullback, I have stay back while attacking and overlap because this is a more defensive player. But let's say I do trigger a run forward with him with L1, I would want him to overlap instead of underlap so we can get extra width in the team. But yeah, they are my custom tactics and player instructions for the 4-2-2. If you have enjoyed this video or found it useful, I'd very much appreciate it if you could drop this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you are new so you never miss out on any videos like this one, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you are notified when a video is posted. And with all that aside, guys, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will catch you all later. Peace.